Imagine this. A single mother, working tirelessly to provide for her son, steps into a hospital room to care for a comatose billionaire. She's mocked, judged, and targeted for her compassion. But when he wakes up, his first words shatter an entire empire of wealth and deceit. This is a story of betrayal that will make your blood boil, redemption that will warm your heart, and a love so powerful it defies every boundary society tries to impose. What would you do if the world turned against you for doing what's right? Stick around because you won't believe how this unfolds. And before we dive in, drop a comment below. Where in the world are you watching from today? Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, because this story will keep you on the edge of your seat until the very last second. The Atlanta skyline glowed like a constellation of dreams against the chilly February night in 2025. Sarah Williams, a 34-year-old single mother, rushed through the staff entrance of Hope Memorial Hospital, her sneakers squeaking against the polished floor. Her 7-year-old son, Smith, had a fever that morning, and the babysitter was late again. Sarah's heart raced, not just from the sprint across the parking lot, but from the weight of a world that judged her for being a black woman raising a child alone. She was the newest nurse on the ICU team, and being late wasn't an option. "Sarah, thank God you're here," called nurse supervisor Maria Gonzalez, her voice urgent as Sarah reached the nurse's station. "We've got a VIP coming in, Nathaniel Hawthorne, the real estate tycoon. Car accident. It's all over X right now." Sarah's breath caught. Everyone in Atlanta knew Nathaniel Hawthorne. His family's empire owned half the city's skyline, glittering towers that screamed wealth. "What happened?" she asked, grabbing a chart from Maria. Swerved to avoid a crash during a late-night drive with his wife, Celeste Monroe Hawthorne. It was their second anniversary. "She's fine, but he's in critical condition, severe head trauma." Maria lowered her voice. "The wife's already here, demanding the best of everything." The ER doors slammed open, and paramedics wheeled in a stretcher, Nathaniel's motionless form strapped down, his face pale beneath bandages. Behind them strode Celeste, a vision in a silk gown, her mascara-streaked face a mask of grief. "Do you know who my husband is?" she demanded, clutching the arm of Dr. Elias Bennett. "I want specialists from Johns Hopkins, Mayo Clinic, wherever it takes." Sarah watched Celeste's theatrics, noting the way her diamond earrings caught the light. 2 years married, and she's already playing the grieving widow. Sarah pushed the thought aside. Her job was to care, not to judge. As the night unfolded, Nathaniel was stabilized but remained in a coma. Sarah was assigned to his care team, a decision Celeste clearly disliked. "Are you sure she's qualified?" Celeste asked Dr. Bennett, her eyes raking over Sarah's scrubs. "This is my husband we're talking about." Sarah met her gaze evenly. "Mrs. Monroe Hawthorne, I graduated top of my class from Morehouse School of Medicine. I'm trained to handle cases like this." Celeste's lips thinned. "Fine, just don't touch anything unnecessarily. His equipment is state-of-the-art." By midnight, Celeste was gone, leaving behind a cloud of Chanel perfume and a flurry of phone calls about insurance and legal matters. Sarah, alone with Nathaniel, adjusted his fore and studied his bruised but striking face. "Mr. Hawthorne," she whispered, "I don't care who you are out there. In here, you're my patient, and I'm going to fight for you." She didn't know then that those words would bind her to a man whose world was about to collide with hers in ways she could never imagine. But as Sarah made her promise, a shadow moved outside the ICU window. Someone was watching, and they weren't there to help. The next morning, Hope Memorial was a circus. News vans clogged the parking lot, their cameras trained on the hospital's glass facade. Atlanta's elite descended on the private wing, their designer suits and whispered gossip filling the air. Sarah noticed how few of them looked at Nathaniel, their eyes fixed instead on Celeste, who held court with theatrical sobs. "It's just devastating," Celeste wept to a group of socialites, clutching a silk scarf. "And to think the hospital assigned her." She cast a pointed glance at Sarah, who was checking Nathaniel's monitors. Sarah's jaw tightened, but she focused on her work. She thought of Smith, waiting at home with her neighbor, and the double shifts she pulled to afford his school supplies. These people didn't know struggle. They didn't know her. Then there was Victor Langston, the Hawthorne family's lawyer, a man with a shark smile and a penchant for hushed conversations. Sarah caught fragments of his talks with Celeste, words like power of attorney and asset transfer. One evening, she overheard Victor say, "We need to move before he wakes up, Celeste. The board won't wait forever." Celeste shot a glance at Sarah, who was adjusting Nathaniel's ventilator, and lowered her voice. "Make it quick, Victor." Sarah's gut twisted. Something was wrong, but she had no proof, just a nurse's instinct and a mother's determination to protect those in her care. That night, a new visitor arrived. Agnes, Nathaniel's housekeeper of 25 years. Her hands trembled as she clutched her worn purse. "I had to come when Celeste wasn't here," Agnes whispered. "She's changing everything. Firing staff, selling Mr. Nathaniel's vintage car collection. She even wants to get rid of his dog, Scout." Sarah listened as Agnes painted a picture of a Nathaniel the public didn't know. A man who tipped generously, who mentored young entrepreneurs, who loved taking Scout for early morning walks. "He always said wealth is nothing without heart," Agnes said, her voice breaking. "He doesn't deserve this." Sarah looked at Nathaniel's still form. "Don't worry, Agnes. I'm not letting anyone hurt him." As Sarah spoke, Nathaniel's finger twitched, barely noticeable, but real. She gasped, scribbling in his chart. But when she turned to call Dr. Bennett, she found Celeste standing in the doorway, her eyes cold as ice. "What did you just see, Nurse Williams?" Celeste's campaign against Sarah began subtly. Equipment malfunctioned during Sarah's shifts, unplugged monitors, missing charts. Her schedule was changed without notice, forcing her to scramble for childcare. Then came a meeting with Dr. Margaret Klein, the hospital administrator. "Sarah, you're an excellent nurse," Dr. Klein said, her tone cautious. "But Mrs. Monroe Hawthorne has concerns about your suitability for this case." "Because I'm black?" Sarah asked, her voice steady but her heart pounding. Dr. Klein hesitated. She believed someone with more experience with high-profile patients would be better suited. Sarah leaned forward. "Dr. Klein, I saw Nathaniel respond yesterday. A finger twitch, clear as day. He's in there, fighting. I won't abandon him because his wife doesn't like the look of me." Dr. Klein's eyes softened. "Stay the course, Sarah. Prove her wrong." But Celeste wasn't done. One night, Sarah arrived to find a new nurse, Brittany, at Nathaniel's bedside. "Mrs. Monroe Hawthorne hired me privately," Brittany said with a smug smile. "You're off the case." Before Sarah could argue, Nathaniel's monitor screamed. His heart rate plummeted. Sarah shoved past Brittany, her training kicking in. She adjusted his medication and stabilized him within minutes, while Brittany stood frozen. Celeste, watching from the doorway, was livid. Dr. Bennett stormed in. "Mrs. Monroe Hawthorne, Sarah stays. Her skills just saved your husband's life." The staff rallied behind Sarah, documenting every suspicious incident. But Celeste's whispers grew louder, spreading rumors that Sarah was too close to Nathaniel, that she was after his money. Sarah ignored them, focusing on Nathaniel and Smith. One night, Smith, recovered from his flu, snuck into Nathaniel's room during a quiet shift. "Mama says you're a fighter, Mr. Hawthorne," he said, showing him a drawing of a superhero. "This is you." Sarah smiled, but her heart stopped when she noticed Nathaniel's brain activity spike on the monitor. Smith's voice was reaching him. As Sarah marveled at the monitors, a chilling message appeared on her phone from an unknown number. Asterisk, stop meddling, or your son pays the price. Asterisk. The threat sent Sarah into a panic, but she refused to back down. She reported it to hospital security, who promised to investigate. Meanwhile, Celeste's behavior grew bolder. Ex-posts showed her dining with Julian Carver, Nathaniel's rival, their hands brushing under the table. Supporting a friend, she told reporters, but Sarah knew better. One evening, Smith, unable to stay home alone, sat in Nathaniel's room, reading him a story about pirates. Nathaniel's vitals surged again, stronger than ever. Sarah recorded the moment on her phone, but when she went to show Dr. Bennett, her phone was gone, stolen from her locker. Celeste smirked when Sarah confronted her. "Careful, Nurse Williams. Accusations could cost your license. Or worse." Sarah's blood ran cold, but she wasn't defenseless. She bought a small voice recorder and hid it in Nathaniel's room during Celeste's visits. What she captured was explosive. Celeste and Julian plotting to declare Nathaniel incompetent, sell his empire, and cash in on his life insurance. "I never thought he'd wake up," Celeste hissed on the recording. "He was supposed to die in that crash." Sarah took the evidence to Dr. Bennett and the hospital's legal team. "This is dangerous, Sarah," the lawyer warned. "The Hawthorns have influence. You're playing with fire." "I'm not afraid," Sarah said. "Nathaniel deserves the truth." But the next morning, police stormed the ICU. Celeste, tears streaming, pointed at Sarah. "She's been stealing my husband's medications. She's a danger to him." Handcuffs clicked around Sarah's wrists. As she was led away, she saw Nathaniel's eyes flutter. "Hold on, Nathaniel," she whispered. "I'll be back." In her jail cell, Sarah clung to hope. But across town, a shadowy figure slipped into the hospital, tampering with Nathaniel's four. Was this the end of his fight? Sarah spent a sleepless night in jail, worrying about Smith and Nathaniel. But dawn brought an unexpected savior. Agnes, with attorney Olivia Spencer, a fierce defender of underdogs. "Nathaniel had cameras in his penthouse," Agnes said. "I found footage of Celeste and Julian planning to frame you." The evidence was damning. Within hours, Sarah was released, but the hospital suspended her pending investigation. "Celeste's influence is too strong," Dr. Klein admitted. "We have to be careful." Sarah felt powerless, but Nathaniel's loyal staff, nurses, janitors, even the security guard, became her eyes and ears. They caught Julian sneaking into Nathaniel's room, trying to alter his medication. Sarah, working with Olivia, uncovered more. Celeste had sold Nathaniel's dog, Scout, to a breeder and was liquidating his charity foundation. One night, Smith's voice broke through Sarah's despair. "Mama, who's telling Mr. Nathaniel stories now?" Sarah hugged him tightly. "We'll find a way, baby." Olivia uncovered Celeste's plan. A board meeting to declare Nathaniel permanently incapacitated, giving her full control. Sarah made a bold move, filing for emergency medical guardianship. "I've seen him respond," she told Olivia. "He's not gone." The media exploded. "Nurse seeks control of Billionaire's care," screamed the headlines. Celeste played the victim, accusing Sarah of exploiting Nathaniel. But Nathaniel's employees fought back, sharing stories of his kindness on X, rallying outside the hospital with signs. Asterisk, "Save Nathaniel. Reinstate Sarah." Asterisk, as Sarah prepared to return to work, a chilling discovery stopped her cold. A hidden camera in Nathaniel's room had caught Celeste slipping a syringe into his forebag. Was it too late to save him? Sarah raced to the hospital, alerting Dr. Bennett. They flushed Nathaniel's four and ran tests, finding traces of a sedative meant to keep him comatose. Celeste's plan was unraveling, but she wasn't giving up. She stormed the hospital with a new team of lawyers, demanding Sarah's arrest. Then it happened. Nathaniel's eyes opened, his voice a hoarse whisper. "Sarah." The room erupted. Doctors confirmed conscious brain activity. Celeste's face was a mask of fury. "He's confused," she shrieked. "He doesn't know what he's saying." But Nathaniel's grip on Sarah's hand was firm. "Thank you," he rasped, "for seeing me." The hospital reinstated Sarah, and Nathaniel's recovery accelerated. Smith's visits became a highlight, his stories sparking stronger responses. One day, Nathaniel spoke clearly, "Scout, my dog." Sarah showed him a photo from Agnes, Scout, safe with a loyal employee. "He's waiting for you," she said. Nathaniel's eyes glistened. "You kept him safe." But Celeste struck back. She leaked a smear campaign, claiming Sarah had seduced Nathaniel for his money. The media frenzy intensified, but Nathaniel's loyalists fought back, flooding X with stories of his generosity. As Nathaniel prepared to speak publicly, Agnes delivered a bombshell, a recording of Celeste confessing to rigging the car accident. But before Sarah could act, a fire broke out in Nathaniel's rehab facility. Was this Celeste's final move? The fire was contained, but the message was clear. Celeste would stop at nothing. Sarah and Olivia presented the recording to the police, and arrest warrants were issued for Celeste and Julian. The headlines shocked Atlanta. Billionaire's wife plotted murder. Nathaniel, now able to sit up, faced the truth about his marriage. I trusted her, he told Sarah, his voice heavy. But you saw who I was when I couldn't. Sarah smiled. Your heart was in your work, in the way Agnes spoke of you. That's the real Nathaniel. As Nathaniel regained strength, their bond deepened. He helped Smith with math homework, shared stories of his childhood, and listened to Sarah's dreams of opening a free clinic. One evening, during a therapy session, their eyes locked, and Nathaniel's hand lingered on hers. Sarah, you've given me more than my life back. Before she could respond, Victor burst in with news of a shareholder revolt against Nathaniel's plan to redirect his company toward community projects. They'll tank the stock, Victor warned. Let them, Nathaniel said. I'm done chasing wealth for wealth's sake. That night, a stranger slipped into Nathaniel's room, leaving a note. Asterisk, you'll regret crossing the Hawthorns. Asterisk, who was behind this new threat? Nathaniel announced the Williams Hawthorne Foundation, dedicated to healthcare and education for underserved communities. At the press conference with Sarah and Smith by his side, he dropped a bombshell. Sarah Williams isn't just my nurse. She's my partner in this mission and in life. The crowd gasped as Nathaniel knelt, his cane steadying him. Sarah, will you marry me? Before she could answer, Celeste's brother, Edward Monroe, stormed in with lawyers, waving documents. Nathaniel's not competent, he roared. We're filing for conservatorship. Sarah's heart sank. Edward revealed a secret from her past. She'd been fired from a Virginia hospital for refusing to cover up a patient's drug addiction. She's a liar, Edward sneered. Sarah faced the cameras. I lost my job because I wouldn't betray my principles. I'd do it again. Dr. Sophia Lynn, a renowned neurologist, stepped forward. I've monitored Nathaniel's recovery. He's fully competent, thanks to Sarah's care. The crowd erupted in applause. Edward's threats crumbled when Olivia revealed his own financial misdeeds. Defeated, he fled. Nathaniel turned back to Sarah. Where were we? He smiled, kneeling again. Sarah Williams, will you be my wife? Yes, Sarah whispered, tears falling. Smith hugged them both. Can I call you Dad? Always, Nathaniel said, lifting him up. As they embraced, a cryptic email arrived. Asterisk, the Hawthorns never forget. Asterisk, was their happiness in danger? Sarah and Nathaniel married in Hope Memorial's garden, surrounded by staff, Agnes, and Smith, who carried the rings. The Williams Hawthorne Foundation opened clinics across Atlanta, and Nathaniel's company thrived despite shareholder doubts. One evening, Nathaniel surprised Sarah with a deed to the Sarah Williams Nursing Academy. For dreamers like you, he said. Smith ran up, excited about his school play. Dad's building the sets, he announced. As they watched the sunset, Sarah reflected on their journey. We fought for this, she said. Every step. Nathaniel kissed her hand. You show me what love really means. Not status, not wealth, just heart. But Sarah knew the Hawthorns' shadow lingered. Edward was still out there, and his cryptic threats hinted at more to come. Whatever lay ahead, they'd face it together, as a family. Wow, what a journey, right? Sarah and Nathaniel's story isn't just about love. It's about standing up for what's right, fighting against the odds, and finding family in the most unexpected places. What did you think of their story? Drop a comment below. Would you have fought like Sarah did? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss a story like this. Let's keep spreading the message that love and courage can change the world. Until next time, stay strong and keep believing in what matters most.